Hello friend, it is Peg, and this video is from the live Art Joy of Sharing that we do each Thursday. Chelsea and I share that channel, Art Joy of Sharing, and we are talking about our Facebook group, Art Joy of Sharing. And what you see on my desk are a bunch of tags that have all kinds of backgrounds on them. These are backgrounds that have been provided by members of our group who contribute to the art that goes on in Art Joy of Sharing. So if you're a member of Art Joy of Sharing, check out the PDF file that has all of those backgrounds. You can also check the album that has painted papers in it. These are all background papers that you can print from your printer at home and use to create things with. So right now I'm talking about rubber stamps and how to care for them. We had some questions in the Facebook group about rubber stamps and ink and all that sort of thing. So we're just talking about it, and I'm sharing how I care for my stamps and what I use them for, and how to best care for your stamps. Anyway, that is the kind of stuff that goes on in Art Joy Sharing. People ask questions, we try to help. There's a lot of people in the group, and anybody can help out. So now I am moving on to, these are 5x7 panels that are pre-gessoed, and I had put some crackle medium down on them. I'm using a couple of different mediums. One is from Dick Blick, which is a crackle medium that's produced in Canada, and the other is a Deco Art product. It's something that I've used for a long time, but you can see as this starts to dry, the cracks are starting to come in. This is the Deco Art Media Weathered Wood. So now I'm just going to add some paint to the crackle. These are cheap little canvases from Arteza. I think I got a set of 20 maybe. So there's the product bottle for that crackle, and depends on how thickly you put it on as to whether it's a thin coat or a thick coat makes a difference. Thin coat crackle makes small cracks, and a thicker coat makes thicker cracks. So one of the things that I noticed on the large jar is it said that it takes 1 to 3 days to dry down for the crackle. Yeah, I did not wait 1 to 3 days, which is probably why it was not giving me the results I was looking for, but that's okay. I was just playing around, trying to use some different products and see what I could do with them. So I'm using some DecoArt fluid media paint and just painting up that background. And there are a lot of different ways to create backgrounds. You can use papers and collage. You can use mediums and dimensional mediums and crackle paste, and so I'm trying a couple of different things out here to see how I like them, setting them aside as I go, and just wanting to create backgrounds today because we have a whole project planned next month on the 1st. The backgrounds that are in Art Joy of Sharing are going to be used by the Art Joy of Sharing artists, and there's actually going to be a hop going on where they use some one or two or more of the backgrounds, create a project and a video, and we will do a video hop with all of those artists to show you what they have created. And then in the Art Joy Sharing group, I'm hoping that people get inspired and show us what they're using the backgrounds for and how they're creating. So I'm drying this down a little bit. I want to put some more texture and things onto this, but as I work, you can see the fine line crackle. This is a little bit thicker. And this one I just put a little bit of the crackle paste on the very edges, not in the middle. So, you can vary it by where you put it on the surface, and that's what I've done with this. Now I'm kind of going back and forth between colors. I'm doing the blue-green combo and the red-orange-yellow combo, just trying to stay in the same color family. I'm going to put a little titanium white down on this, bringing out the crackle on the edges. This is going to be more of a pastel background. You can see the crackle starting to surface here. One of the things that I love is seeing through the layers. So crackle to me is a very interesting background because you can see down to that black surface. And now I'm demoing with a stencil. This is a stencil that Shell was using today, and it's a Stencil Girl stencil, and I decided to use some resist spray. So I'm going to put some of that on, and talking about sprays and cleaning up your nozzle and all that, because yeah, that stuff does get plugged if you don't clean it out. It's kind of like glue. Glue going through sprays does not always work the best. So now I'm moving to a paper, another paper piece, and I'm just going to create several backgrounds using a brayering technique. I'm going to pick my color family, and I'm going to go back and forth between darks and lights. I'm going to start with a light. This is a yellow, and so I'm just going to get my brayer, and I'm going to randomly brayer that color onto my background piece. This is one of those things that Seth After does. He gets grungy and he just, layer, layer, layer. So now I go to a dark. This is a dark blue-green. And you can still see all the colors, the base color, the yellow color, this color. So next I'm going to go to a lighter shade again. Got a little more paint out than I wanted, so I'm going back to that canvas board and brayering off some of that onto the canvas board. So now I want to add a light. So I'm going to mix a little white in with some green gold. Green gold is very translucent, and I do want this to cover a little bit, so I've added just a touch of white to it. And you can still see all those layers through the paper. Now I'm going to add some turquoise, just for another combination, and we'll set that aside to dry. And now we're going to go to the other color family. So we've got the peachy pink and the reds and the yellows and that sort of family. The hot side of the color wheel instead of the cool side. A little quinacridone magenta, one of my favorites. And just spraying those colors in layers. You can see how easily you can create these background papers. Now, I could work on this piece of paper to complete a project, or I can tear it up and collage with it. I can take it to the copier and make copies of it. Lots of different things. I could print it on a transparency, print it on some rice paper or different papers. If you've got the ability, which we're talking about, the ability to take these backgrounds and print them on any sort of paper that you can run through your copier. Now I'm just adding some stamped images for texture in the background. And let's see, I'm going to continue that using some of those same warm tones in the archival ink. Getting some texture into the background. You can see that there. I'm going to do the same with this green-blue combo. Just stamping down some images. And I have a dirty stamp. I did not clean this stamp evidently last time, so it's got kind of a brown tone because, yeah, the colors are mixing on my stamp. I'm okay with that because I don't mind brown. But now I'm going to clean it. I'm going to clean off my stamp, and I'm going to come back with that blue tone, and you'll see the difference. So, yeah, probably should clean my stamps more often. Oh well. So now I have some molding paste, and I'm going to use some molding paste through a stencil onto this background. I'm showing some of those other backgrounds and how I've started altering some of these. These two have some of that crackle paste on them already, so I'm going to use those. So I'm going to grab another stencil and put this molding paste through the stencil, and then of course put the stencil into a tub of water so that I can clean it up later. This is another Stencil Girl stencil, and I'm not going to use the whole image. I'm just putting some down because this is mixed media collage, right? And don't have to do the whole thing. So that's going aside to dry, and now I'm going to grab some inks. I've got some acrylic inks. Shell had sent me some last year, and I decided I wanted to use some of those acrylic inks on these tags that already have the crackle medium on them. I just taken, I had my tool and it had some medium left on the tool, so I just swiped them on a couple of those tags. So let's see what we can get. I'm going to dig in the drawer and I'm going to find some colors that I think might work for this. And this orange tone is kind of calling to me on this background. So I'm just going to put that on there and spritz it with a little water. And then that green, that's a lovely green, very earthy. So I've got that down. Now on this one, I'm going to use some white, what is that, India ink. I'm just going to let that run around on top of that crackle paste. And then I'm going to dry it down and see if I can get it to what I want it to do is to show up the crackle and be very organic on here. So it's going to take a little while to dry down. But I do like the effect on here. And I don't, the backgrounds were created, these backgrounds were created by somebody else. So I do want to alter them and make them my own. And that's part of this whole project for what we're doing this next month, is taking something that we have, altering it, and making it our own, and turning it into our art. So just getting the lids back on those things before I spill them, because I am prone to spills. I'm just saying, I am prone to spills. So those are dry, and I want to add a little bit of ink to the edges. Getting out a green to go with the green that's dripped down the page, and some orange. Bringing those two tones in that I've just added to this background. And I like that. Gonna add a little blue to it too around the edge, just to give it a little depth. And then I'm looking at this other piece and saying, well, it needs a little color, so I'm going to add some Distress Oxide to this and change this one up completely. Once I get the Distress Oxide on, I'm going to actually spritz that and get that ink to move a little bit, get it to oxidize. So I like that orange-purple combo on there. Got a little bit of ink left, so why not? We'll just go to our other piece, add a little of that, add some water, spritz it, get that oxidation going, and then we'll have to dry that down. So you might know it, right in the middle of the show, Windows decided to do an update for me, so just decided this background would work with the Pick a Stick challenge for this month. So I'm going to put some more colors and things on it, because eventually, sometime this month, you'll be seeing me work on this piece for the Pick a Stick challenge. If you don't know about the Pick a Stick challenge, well, there's 6 prompts, 2 wild cards, and 2 colors. And you just do the prompts in the order in which they're given. And if you don't like a particular prompt, you could use one of the wild cards instead of the prompt. So you have options. And I'm just using some rubber stamps to get some more texture into the background. And I'm looking at this piece and saying, yeah, I think that's going to work for my Pick a Stick challenge this month. And the first thing on there says cut, so I'm thinking about what am I going to cut out to put on there, and I've got this little birdie, and yeah, that's when things start to go awry. So I'll give you some parting shots of what we did today, and I hope you come over and join us on Art Joy Sharing, because it's a fun group. There's lots going on. There's at least 4 challenges each month for you to join in on. You know, you don't have to do all of them. You can post what you like. You don't have to be afraid about, is my art good enough or anything like that, because we're all artists. We all started someplace, and we're all helpful, friendly people. So come and join us. So that's about it for the show today. I will post those pictures, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for stopping by. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notification, and thanks for being here. Bye for now.